Somewhere in the dark, cold waters of the Sea of Galilee, a silver coin is sinking. It is sinking past schools of tilapia. It is catching the faint sunlight filtering down from the surface, spinning slowly as it falls into the deep. You have probably dropped a coin before. You watch it roll away into a storm drain, or slip under a car seat, and you immediately forget about it. It is just a small piece of metal, stamped with an image of a forgotten ruler. But this specific coin is different. This coin is about to become the exact mathematical answer to a crisis that has not even happened yet. A fish sees the sudden flash of silver in the water. It swims toward it, it opens its mouth, and it swallows. We will come back to that fish. But first, you need to understand what it means to truly run out of what you need. This is not a story about massive cosmic events. This is not a story about raising the dead or calming a hurricane. This is not a story about grand theological mysteries. This is a story about the God of the universe caring about a wedding party running out of drinks, a tired fisherman with empty nets, and a stressful tax bill that is due today. You have been to a wedding. You know the pressure of hosting. You want everything to be perfect. Now I want you to imagine a first-century Jewish wedding in the small village of Cana. This is not a simple 4-hour reception. It is a 7-day festival. The entire village is there. The families have saved up for years to provide enough food and enough wine to honor their guests. You need to understand that in this ancient culture, hospitality is not just about being polite. It is a strict moral code. If you invite someone to your home, you are bound by deep honor to provide for them. Running out of wine is not a minor inconvenience. It is a social catastrophe. It is a public humiliation that would follow your family for generations. You would forever be known as the family that failed, and they are running out. Mary, the mother of Jesus, sees it happening before anyone else does. You can imagine the sudden tension in her shoulders. You can almost hear the panicked whispers of the servants in the back rooms. You can picture them frantically tipping the heavy clay jars, hoping for just a few more drops, but the jars are dry. The Greek word used here by the writer John is hystereo. It means to fall short, to lack, to be completely destitute. It is the exact sinking feeling you get when you look at your bank account at the end of the month and realize the math simply does not work. You have fallen short, your resources are gone. Mary goes to Jesus. She does not scream. She does not give him a demanding command. She just states the terrifying reality of the problem. They have no more wine. Jesus tells the anxious servants to fill 6 stone water jars. These are not small pitchers sitting on a table. These are massive, heavy stone basins used for ceremonial washing. They hold 20 to 30 gallons each. That is over 100 gallons of liquid. The servants carry the heavy water and fill them all the way to the brim. The master of the banquet, a man whose entire job is to judge the quality of the feast, takes a sip. And it is not just wine. It is the greatest wine of the entire week. Here is what most people miss. Jesus did not just provide barely enough to scrape by. He did not provide cheap wine just to stop the gossip. He provided an overwhelming, lavish abundance of the highest possible quality. And he did it entirely behind the scenes. He saved a family from complete social ruin. And most of the guests sitting at the tables never even knew they were in danger. You might have experienced this in your own life. The silent provisions, the disasters that got averted before you even knew they were coming. But the stakes are about to get higher, because social shame is one thing, but pure survival is another. You are standing on the muddy shore of the Lake of Gennesaret. The ancient historian Flavius Josephus wrote extensively about this specific lake. He described it as the absolute beating heart of the Galilean economy. Hundreds of wooden boats worked these dangerous waters. You have to realize that this was not a peaceful weekend hobby. This was a brutal, physically exhausting, dangerous industry. It is early morning. The sun is just coming up, turning the surface of the water to glass. Simon Peter, his brother Andrew, James, and John are on the shore, washing out their massive linen nets. You know the look of a person who has worked a 12-hour night shift and has absolutely nothing to show for it. Their hands are raw, their muscles ache, Their families are waiting at home for the catch that will buy their daily bread. And their nets are completely empty. They have fallen short. Jesus steps into Peter's boat to teach the massive crowds pressing in on the shore. When he finishes speaking, the crowds are quiet, and Jesus turns to Peter. "Put out into deep water and let down the nets for a catch." You can feel the heavy exhaustion in Peter's response. "Master, we've worked hard all night and haven't caught anything." Peter is a professional fisherman. He knows this lake better than he knows his own home. Jesus is a carpenter from a landlocked town. Fish in this lake feed at night, in the shallow waters. Jesus is telling him to fish in the bright morning, in the deep water. It makes zero sense to a professional. It goes against everything Peter knows. But Peter looks at Jesus and says, "But because you say so, I will let down the nets." You can hear the heavy splash as they drop the linen nets into the dark water. For a second, nothing happens. And then suddenly, the ropes pull violently taut. The entire boat tips to the side. The wood groans under the sudden immense weight. The net is so full of thrashing fish, it actually begins to tear apart. Peter has to frantically wave his arms to signal James and John in the other boat to come help. They pull the fish in, throwing them onto the wooden deck until both boats are filled. So high they physically begin to sink. And this is where it gets remarkable. Jesus did not just give Peter a nice theological lesson on the beach. He provided exactly what Peter needed for his livelihood, right in the exact realm where Peter was an expert. He showed Peter that the creator of the universe controls the very fish in the sea. He provided so much raw abundance that it absolutely terrified Peter. Peter fell down at the knees of Jesus right there among the flapping fish and said, "Go away from me, Lord, I am a sinful man." The provision was so vast, so incredibly unnatural, it revealed the divine. When God provides for your empty net, it is never just about the fish. It is about proving to you exactly who is sitting in your boat. If you have ever felt the terror of falling short, of working all night, and coming up completely empty, you are not alone. If these stories of divine provision are opening your eyes to how closely God watches over your daily needs, take a second and subscribe to the channel right now. We are exploring the hidden depths of the Bible this way, bringing these ancient stories into your daily life. Stay with me, because the stakes are about to shift one more time, from survival to authority. Jesus and his disciples arrive in the bustling town of Capernaum. This is Peter's hometown, and almost immediately, they are approached in the street by the collectors of the 2 drachma tax. You need to know that this was not a corrupt Roman tax. This was the sacred temple tax. According to the ancient laws in the book of Exodus, every single Jewish male over the age of 20 was required to pay a half shekel every year for the upkeep of the temple in Jerusalem. It was a holy obligation. Josephus records how seriously the people took this. Faithful Jews from all over the Roman Empire would carefully save their money and send their half shekels to Jerusalem. The tax collectors look at Peter and ask a very pointed question. "Doesn't your teacher pay the temple tax?" Peter, always quick to speak, says yes. But when Peter goes into the house, Jesus speaks first. He asks Peter a deep question about earthly kings and taxes. Jesus points out that the children of the king are always exempt from paying the tax. Jesus is the Son of God. The temple in Jerusalem is his Father's house. Technically, he owes them absolutely nothing. But then Jesus says something that defies all logic. "But so that we may not cause offense, go to the lake and throw out your line. Take the first fish you catch, open its mouth, and you will find a 4 drachma coin. Take it and give it to them for my tax and yours." Now watch what happens next. Think about the sheer mathematical impossibility of this exact moment. You have the vast lake of Gennesaret. You have millions upon millions of fish swimming in the deep. You have one specific silver coin that was dropped into the water by a careless merchant days or weeks ago. A 4 drachma coin. The specific Greek word used here is stater. It is exactly, mathematically enough to pay the half shekel tax for 2 people. Exactly enough for Jesus. Exactly enough for Peter. Peter walks alone down to the shore. He does not take a massive net this time. He takes a single line, a single iron hook. He throws it into the water and waits. And deep below the surface, the specific fish that swallowed the silver stater sees the bait. Peter feels the sharp tug on his line. He pulls the heavy fish out of the water and onto the muddy shore. He reaches his rough fingers into its mouth, and he feels it. His fingers brush against cold, hard silver. He pulls it out into the sunlight. It is the exact amount needed, delivered at the exact moment it was required. There is a very specific, quiet kind of fear that keeps you awake at 2 in the morning. You stare at the dark ceiling, doing the math in your head. You calculate the numbers over and over. The rent is this much. The groceries cost this much. The unexpected medical bill is this much. And your income is just not enough. It is the terrifying fear of falling short. It is the fear of the empty net, the empty wine jar, the sudden knock at the door from a collector you cannot pay. We tend to think that God is only interested in our eternal souls. We convince ourselves that He is far too busy running the distant galaxies, dealing with massive wars, and orchestrating historical movements. You might think it is almost insulting to ask the Almighty Creator of the universe to help you pay a heating bill, or to help you find a steady job, or to provide a simple meal for your children. But look at what He actually did. He cared about the fragile social reputation of a stressed family in Cana. He cared about the physical exhaustion and the empty stomach of a fisherman in Galilee. He cared about a minor, frustrating tax dispute in the streets of Capernaum. He is the infinite God of the cosmos, yes, but He is also the God of the 4-drachma coin. He is the God of the details. As we close, I want you to carry these 3 truths with you today. First, God sees the exact nature of your lack. He knows when your wine has run out and you are trying to hide it. He knows when you have worked all night in the dark and have absolutely nothing to show for it. He knows the exact specific amount that you owe. Nothing about your daily mundane life is too small for His attention. Second, His supernatural provision often requires your natural participation. Notice the pattern. He told the servants to carry the incredibly heavy water jars. He told Peter to throw the heavy, soaking wet nets back into the sea. He told Peter to walk down to the water and cast a line. He provides the miracle, but He almost always asks you to do the ordinary, exhausting work first. You have to cast the line. And third, listen to me on this one. The greatest provision you will ever receive is not the finest wine, or the massive catch of fish, or the silver coin in the mouth of the fish. The greatest provision is the physical presence of the provider in your boat. When Peter's nets were painfully empty, Jesus was right there with him. When the nets were breaking with abundance, Jesus was right there with him. He is sitting with you in your lack, and He is sitting with you in your abundance. And because He is in your boat, you do not ever need to be afraid of the deep water. Which of these 3 miracles of provision do you need most right now in your own life? Do you need the quiet, behind-the-scenes miracle? Do you need the overwhelming catch after a long season of failure? Or do you need the exact specific coin at the final hour? Tell me below in the comments. I read them all, and I want to know.